So, if you were on PlayStation 4 and able to pre-download the update file 1.28 for Modern Warfare and Warzone, or if you were on PC and Xbox One and noticed that you got a large download overnight, well, the mystery's solved. Late last night, the update for Modern Warfare and Warzone was made live for all players, and it's a lot of prep work seemingly for the coming mid-season update. We talked about yesterday how it seemed unlikely that we'd see the Reloaded update drop as of today, but it was certainly strange to see a large update like this, not associated with any content additions. So what really changed? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about and breaking down here in this video for you today. As we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. Are you thinking the mid-season update will happen as of next week when the Haunting of Verdansk event is scheduled to start? What are you hoping to see perhaps in the data mined content coming out of this, if anybody can pull anything out of this update? Whatever it is, let me know your thoughts down below. As well, if you are new to the channel, do be sure to subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare, Warzone, and of course Black Ops Cold War. We've got this ambitious goal of reaching 400,000 subscribers by or shortly after launch next month, so if you'd like to join the community, I'd love to have you. But anyways, let's talk about this update. For starters, the update itself was roughly around 10 to 20 gigabytes depending on your platform, but for the most part, a lot of that file size seems to be general fixes for the game, and while on the patch notes side of things, there doesn't really seem to be any content additions, there are a few things snuck in there that are definitely of importance, though it's definitely possible that even more could be hidden on the back end, which we'll get to in a little bit. Interestingly, a lot of what was actually mentioned in the patch notes is relatively your normal stuff, your things like your playlist updates, which we'll get to in a second, but we'll start out with a few things that are actually unmentioned in the patch notes that are kind of big and kind of cool. Depends on how you look at it, really. The biggest one here out of this is that we did actually get a brand new weapon, the AA-12, or as it's called in Modern Warfare, the JAK-12. It's finally introduced. The butterfly knife was not, so likely being reserved for then the mid-season update or that Season 6 Reloaded update, but we do have the AA-12 finally making its mark here in Modern Warfare. Now, to unlock this organically, you need to get 3 hipfire kills using shotguns in 7 different matches. Now, I haven't unlocked this, but jumping over into the private match here just to test that around a little bit with it, the big thing that I remember from the leaked footage of this whenever it was still in development was that the recoil looked to be insane. Now, it does still have quite a bit of kick, but not as much as it seemed to back whenever it was still being developed, and also it seems like there is a little bit of fire rate cap on it, so still spammy, but also maybe comparable to the Origin 12. Hands-on, how it'll feel against actual enemies, that's yet to be determined, but of course it is there for you to check it out. Other things added in that weren't in these patch notes were things like new variants to the throwing knife. Both the EVH and the phlebotomist variants of the throwing knife are available, different visual changes here to it, though functionally serving no difference from the regular throwing knife. The EVH is available in the Dr. Karlov Lives bundle in the shop, and the phlebotomist is available in the Saw bundle in the shop. And rounding out the stuff that wasn't mentioned here that we found so far is that there's now a new random operator option that you can select, so if you don't want to necessarily have the same operator every single match, game in and game out, that can change out with every match you play. But now, as for the stuff that's mentioned in the patch notes and the other front-facing content here with it, which kind of resembles that of a regular playlist update, we saw the introductions of the playlist of Ground War, Gunfight, Deathmatch Domination, and Drop Zone, Gun Game TDM, and Headquarters Firefight. Now, Ground War and Gunfight are your standards, ones that we've seen for a while now, nothing really special about these. Deathmatch Domination and Drop Zone is a mosh pit of 2 pretty good modes if you ask me. Deathmatch Domination naturally being your mode that takes into account flag capture score, plus also rewards score for kills a player gets, rewarding both objective and slaying play. Drop Zone is your hardpoint-esque mode in which you gain streaks by capturing the drop zone, where streaks will drop for those who hold the objective, so playing the objective is definitely important here at this one. Gun Game TDM is TDM but with a rotation of weaponry as if it were gun game, so get ready to be a gunslinger and master those different weapons on offer. HQ Firefight is like Deathmatch Domination in regards to objective and slaying, so it rewards both equally that headquarters time for playing the objective, but also if you end up getting kills as well. In Warzone, we have your standards, Battle Royale, solos, duos, trios, and quads, but traditional plunder quads is reintroduced here this time around, and blood money is removed. As for the shop introduced this week are a few things, but first a huge thank you and shout out to Ekmal, Aiden, Spaceman, and Austin for showing some love and supporting the channel a little further by using code Espresso in the Modern Warfare shop. If you end up using my code, tweet me a picture. I'd love to shout out your support. But anyways, introduced this week in the shop were actually a few really cool bundles. Firstly, the Tracer Pack 16-bit, which for 2,200 COD points, you get the AN94 Commodore, the P90 Genesis, the Vorpal Blade Kodachis, the Boom Bits Weapon Charm, the Slip On Out sticker, the Clean Kills calling card, and the No Soap emblem. Now, as for the blueprints, these look sick. The tracers and the dismemberment on them are really cool, plus the builds aren't even half bad. Like that AN94, I'd adjust ever so slightly, and same thing goes with the P90. But the nice part is that even if you do adjust them, you don't really need to lose out on much of that camo, which is awesome, because I think this one is a really cool blueprint and cool camo here for this. So I'm sold immediately on that one. The Ghost Fighting Spirit bundle comes along for 1800 COD points, which comes along with the Apparition Ghost skin, the Murdoch M4 blueprint, the Stalemate Knife blueprint, the For My Mates Ghost Quip, the Metalhead charm, the Final Mission sticker, the Brutality calling card, the Fiery Thoughts emblem, and the Ashes to Ashes spray. This one, though the M4 blueprint isn't half bad, I do think this one would be primarily for those that love Ghost as an operator and be running him as a main, so that's available as well. And rounding out the featured items here within this week, the Laced Demon bundle comes in at 1100 COD points and comes with the Copus AA12 blueprint, the Warrior King charm, the Slain calling card, the Close Quarters emblem, and the Hoplite spray. Now what's nice is that if you don't want to necessarily unlock the AA12 immediately, this gives you that instant access and in a not so terrible build. But the catch is that while you can rank this up in game with this blueprint, you can't actually go into Gunsmith to customize the weapon with the attachments you end up unlocking until you fully unlock the weapon itself. So bear that in mind, you need to get that base default before you can actually customize the weapon further. I additionally also got one called the Two Evils bundle, which you may see as well. That comes along with the El Paso SKS blueprint, the Glenwood Magnum blueprint, the Hostile Country emblem, and the Road Less Traveled calling card, all for 1200 COD points. What's interesting though is that the throwing knife bundles that were added in as new locked items in those lethal categories are actually not included this week, so likely coming as of next with what is then the event and the mid-season update or Season 6 Reloaded update. But other than that, not really much else. Like we said, this week really wasn't much out of the ordinary on the front end, but in preparation for the Season 6 Reloaded update coming presumably next week, we got a lot on the back end and a lot of technical fixes. Weaponry-wise, we saw a pair of adjustments actually, but likely not what you were perhaps expecting, as we didn't have adjustments to things like, say, the Dragon's Breath R90 or anything like that. For weapons, adjusted actually were the Kar98K as well as the SPR208 in Warzone. MP, they still remain unadjusted, but for the Kar98K, we saw an increased minimum damage range. This means the longer range shots the Kar98K are going to be a little more lethal, as that minimum damage dealt was bumped up ever so slightly. For the SPR208, this actually reduced the minimum damage range, nerfing it again ever so slightly, and this is after the adjustments recently made this past week, in which the SPR208 saw an increase to the flinch, a reduction in the ADS speed, a pair of changes to the variable zoom scope, and a bullet velocity nerf and correction to the 300 normal rounds and the 338 Lapua rounds that made them hit scan up to 400 some meters. So this thing has been through the ringer already since its introduction a few weeks back now at this point, but at the same time, a lot of that was justified. Now, there were a handful of general fixes to which, again, not to sound boring, these are what they are rattled off. For Warzone, there was a fix to help improve volume levels with the War Track slider, thank goodness. There was a fix to help prevent players from dying while completing the subway puzzle. There was a fix for a bug where players might not be able to access Bunker 11. There was a fix for a gas mask bug when players attempted to complete the station puzzle. There was a fix for a bug where using self-revive near doors on the subway train would clip you out of the train but still transfer you to the next station. There's a fix for a collision bug near the entrance of the underground road on the west side of the airport. There's a fix for when players died post the doors closing in the subway car, that they'd be pulled out of the gulag by the fast travel system, but then pulled back into the gulag for when it was their turn. There's a fix for an issue where the player's view was forcefully moved when exiting a vehicle or parachuting, which is a great fix if this is actually 100% confirmed and changed out entirely. This would be where if you jumped out of a vehicle, it would spit you out in a direction that you weren't actually looking. And there's also a fix for a bug where players could experience a crash after engaging with the bounty contract, thus hopefully reintroducing here bounty contracts for good and not making them anything that's game breaking. For the rest of the game in MP, we saw a fix for an issue where the next unlocked section was showing attachments out of order. There's a fix for an issue where teammates could spawn inside a closed off room and broadcast. There was a fix for a bug where viewing the Nevermore execution in the menus could cause the model to get stuck. There was a fix for a bug where grenades could fall through the floor in Tank Factory. There was a fix for a lighting issue with the Gilded Arm variants from the Season 6 Battle Pass. There was a fix for an issue where players could experience a crash after reaching wave 45 or higher on survival mode, and what is described as improved stability for PC. And this This is one that I really hope fixes a huge issue with frame loss that myself and many others have been experiencing. It doesn't matter the rig or the components you have here within this. I've seen many cases similar to mine, averaging frame performance 30 to 40 to 50 frames lower than normal, all while using the same settings as pre-Season 6 update. Now, to make it worse, the issues still persist even in my own testing, no matter the quality. I could drop it down from 1440p to 1080p, playing on the lowest settings possible, and I'd still have those frame loss issues. So it seems to be one of those things that is related to the game, not necessarily optimization in terms of your own components. Not to break away too much, but I don't know if it's a result of the Season 6 update per se, or the newest NVIDIA drivers that were released in tandem with Modern Warfare's Season 6 update, which ironically was meant to introduce a performance boost option. But either way, as of recording this commentary, haven't got enough hands-on time just yet to fully test, but also introduced on the technical side of things for PC is the new ability to compartmentalize and uninstall content that you may not be interested in playing. Thus, it's just taking up space on your hard drive, eating away even though you won't be using it. To do this, you'll have to open up your BNet launcher, select Modern Warfare on the left Games panel, select Options in the upper left of the launcher, then select the Modify Install option, and under the Games content, select Modify Install. From there, you can check or uncheck content that you wish to uninstall minus Warzone. Everything else is modifiable, but Warzone's stuck with you. You can choose from Campaign, Multiplayer, or Spec Ops, and once you select what you wish to remove, select Confirm and start install. They note that you can't do this modification while updating, so be aware if the game is doing that while you try to do it. But other than that, that is the update here in a nutshell and what we have on offer. Again, a lot of technical stuff, a lot of stuff that we don't necessarily see on the front-facing side of things, but also, I quite wonder how much is still reserved and what isn't mentioned in these patch notes. Something that brings us back to that conversation of data mining, because we have a week until presumably that mid-season update and the Season 6 Reloaded content, so I would almost guarantee that we have at least some of, if not all of that content already in the game files. So we're likely to be seeing leaks come out here with it. We may talk about it here on the channel as well, talking about what we can expect in the upcoming week and what we learned from this newest update on the back end side of things. That's where we're going to wrap it up. I would love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. Are you looking forward to anything in particular that this may be introduced? Again, on the back end, some fixes, some content we may see leaked for the Season 6 Reloaded update. Whatever it is, let me know your thoughts down below. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below. And of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare, Warzone, and of course, Black Ops Cold War as we round into weekend 2 of the beta here. That said, if you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected with my side on YouTube. Probably live on both those. If you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. That said, thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.